Well, good morning, St. Thomas United Church. Welcome to Holy Week. This is Thursday, April the 9th. It is Holy Week, the week between the Parade of Palms, that joyful, triumphant protest march into the city of Jerusalem, and the Passion narrative, or the crucifixion story, in which Jesus surrenders to the fear and hate of leaders, unwilling to risk another threat on their tightly held power over the people. And while Holy Week is filled with moments that we as Christians remember about that journey towards Easter, today is Maundy, Thursday. Maundy meaning holy, and coming from the word for command, in which Jesus gives the command to the disciples to love one another as I have loved you. Maundy Thursday is also the day that we remember two important events in that journey towards Easter Sunday. The first is that we remember when Jesus gathered those closest to him, gathered them together and began washing their feet. Now Peter, one of the closest to Jesus again, protested, saying that Jesus had no business washing his feet, and if anything, he should be the one washing Jesus' feet. There's a bit of an exchange between Jesus and Peter, but in the end, Jesus washes Peter's feet, saying afterwards that if I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have sent you as an example, that you also should do as I have done to you. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not really a huge fan of feet. I don't get foot massages, I don't go to reflexology, I don't get pedicures, none of that. If that is your thing, cool. It's just not something that I myself am comfortable with. But these days, and especially this Holy Week this year, I think a more apt comparison, at least for me, to how we are living today is actually hand washing rather than foot washing. Now, hand washing is something that we've been all told to do even more than normal, and we wash our hands regularly with soap and water for 20 seconds while singing any number of songs or reciting any number of lyrics. But why exactly do we do this? Now, on one hand, we do it for ourselves, to keep ourselves clean and safe and healthy. But that doesn't mean, therefore, that we are unclean or unsafe or unhealthy just by virtue of being who we are without washing our hands. Jesus doesn't wash the disciples' feet because they are dirty people, but rather because he cares deeply for and about them. Why do we wash our hands? Sure, we wash our hands out of concern for ourselves or necessity or obligation or even to set a good example for others, or for a whole host of other reasons. But this morning, I want to invite each of us to think about who we wash our hands for, or practice physical distancing for that matter. Sure, it's for ourselves at some level, but it's also, and I think more importantly, for one another, as a way of caring for and about others. And because of this, I want to invite you and us and all of us, the next time we wash our hands, to bring 5 names to mind of who you are washing your hands for. 5 people, either close to you or important to you or maybe vulnerable, especially at this time. 5 people that you are caring for through the act of washing your hands. Now, on one hand, I want you to think or to pray about them by name. And then on the other hand, to pray for something in particular for each of them. Maybe it's safety, maybe it's health or healing or something or particular going on that you know of in their lives, or simply for comfort, for presence at this time of isolation, or any number of things. Now, at the very least, thinking about these people by name and lifting up something in their lives should at least take you the recommended 20 seconds it takes to properly wash your hands. Remember that we are being called to care for one another, even when we aren't gathered with one another. Now, the second event that we remember as Christians on Maundy, Thursday, is the Last Supper, normally celebrated in the evening, in which we remember the story of Jesus sharing an evening meal with the disciples for the last time before he was arrested later that night. Now, I would invite you to do something similar on your own this evening. Remember the meal shared with those closest to Jesus, in your own home, with your own family, around your own table, or simply on your own. Take some time to eat and to drink. It doesn't have to be anything in particular, or any particular time, or even with any particular words. Just take some time and really think about what you are doing, where the food you're eating came from, what it is that you're drinking, who you're sharing it with, or who you wish you could be sharing it with. Remember those closest to you and what this time of being separated from them feels like. Invite those feelings into the core of who you are, without judgment or expectation. And invite the divine, that presence of Jesus, the holy or the almighty God, however you know or understand God in your life, invite the divine into that moment of eating and drinking, of sharing and of yearning. After all, this is Holy Week. Blessings on your journey this Holy Week, and each of our own journeys, as we move towards Good Friday and into the promise of Easter Sunday. Take good care on the rest of this week, and see you all soon. God bless.